Hi everyone, this is Will, aka Dr. Financial Literacy, and coming to you with another wonderful experience in terms of using velocity banking. Just to recap my story, I initially started this process of velocity banking as a result of not being approved for a home equity line of credit, and then I tried, or a HELOC, then I tried to get a personal line of credit and was not also approved by the major banks and institutions. Maybe I could have went to some other places, but I was looking for a line of credit that was variable, that I can put my paycheck in, pull it out, put my paycheck in, and pay my bills. So I started looking around to see, okay, what do I have at my disposal? After watching a couple of videos on YouTube, I saw that I can use a cash advance on one of the credit cards, on credit cards. So I looked at all my credit cards and found Navy Federal at 18% on the cash advance, no transaction fees, and 18% interest rate. So I used that to start my velocity banking. Now, you may not have access to capital like that, but I am willing to utilize $500 to help individuals start. And I'm calling it a green lock. And my company is Green Group Consulting LLC, but I'm looking to do a green lock, which provide a personal loan of about $500 to pay a couple of your small bills to try to get you started with velocity banking and the process. So if you're interested in getting green lock or a line of credit at a small amount, and see if we can get you into velocity banking and understanding the concepts in the real world, my telephone number is in the description box and also my email. So please give me a call. Today, I really wanted to go back over the budget. I'll go over the budget that I have and give you an idea of where I'm starting from. It has changed over time, but this is what I'm looking at so far. And the budget is very important. So I really, really encourage you, please, to start a budget, put your numbers in so that you can see where your money is going. Now, initially, I started the budget in January of 2024. My wages was 1747 every 2 weeks. I got a salary increase, and you can see that that was bumped up. So now I'm bringing home 1942.40 every 2 weeks, and that money will stay into the budget to the best of my ability. I also mentioned earlier that I went to my employer, I put in a form W-4, I think, to change my deduction. So rather than the number of deductions I had pulling the taxes and going to the federal government monthly, I changed that to keep some of that into my budget and use that also for velocity banking. Now, that amounts to about $129 a month. That's not a part of my salary. That's just a strategy that I am using. So that gives me $1,555 for this particular year that I can use for velocity banking. At least $129.76 a month. Not to eat out, not to dine, not to travel, but to specifically use for velocity banking. And I'm gonna have to pay that back at the end of the year because it's not being taken out now. But that is just my own personal strategy that I'm using. The next thing that I have as income are the cash, credit card cash rewards. So across all my credit cards, I'm adding up how much cash reward I receive for spending, and that is a part of my budget, and that'll be added. So here I have three sources of income. My wages at about $3,000 a month. I increased my federal income tax, which is still a part of my wages, but I broke it out because next year I may not use this strategy, but I wanted you to see it. And the cash reward. So if you have a credit card and you look on your cash reward, they may be giving you that, or you may be using points. I'm using cash rewards at this time. bringing that money out of each one of the credit cards and inserting it into my budget. Last month, with my lower paycheck coming home, I was at $3,244.94. With the increase in salary, I think it was maybe a 1% increase. The feds indicated that they have a target of 2%. So I guess I'm under the 2%, and it's really eating up what was just increased. This month, with that 1% increase, I'm bringing home now about altogether $3,909.80. So let's see how it was distributed between January and February, where I'm projecting. And this where the budget is important, because I'm projecting what I'm looking to spend and what's coming in and what happened last month. So last month, my total housing was $1,650. That over. So my total housing last month was $1,650.82 in California. This month I'm projecting, so I'm taking the same numbers from January because I created this. I'm using a budget, and you can pull down any budget you want and have a budget. I'm projecting that I will spend next month $1,756.65. The increase will come from the electric bill. Our rates in California, I think they're definitely going up, and we use more of the heating this particular month, so it increased the cost itself. Okay. In terms of my daily living, also went over to Costco's versus some of the smaller grocery stores, and I project that the groceries will go up. My cell phone stay the same. Dining out, I expect that to increase because I went to a couple of places. On average out here, if we dine out as a couple, looking between $70 to $80 at a restaurant in the neighborhood. Dry cleaning, that was on another end, that's increased to $114.97. So for my daily living, it increased or is projected to increase. Transportation, that's also projected to increase. My car payment will stay the same, $157.46 for a Kia Forte 2015. My insurance, $110 for one automobile, trying to get a different policy. Fuel, let's see, I think that should be maybe $40. So I remember filling up with the Kia. Again, I'm happy with the Kia Forte, the miles to the gallon. I'm getting about 40 plus when I look on the dashboard. So whereas I was filling up with the Nissan Altima, approximately maybe every 2 to 3 days. Parking, public transportation, so that's projected to increase. Entertainment, no entertainment at all. Health, we have a workout center down here in the apartment complex, maybe a little 10 by 10 room. The auto insurance, prescription, over-the-counter drugs. That was spent, but that was included in the bill already. Maybe I should go ahead and throw that in. Probably 65 for some prescriptions. Okay. Vacations, a vacation is coming up, so that may be a couple of $1,000 each individual person. So I'm seeing how that would occur. Recreation, no gym fees, gym dues, teams, childcare given. No children are in the house, just me and my wife. Dues and subscriptions. I have no dues and no subscriptions to organizations. Now, that may come at the end of the year. So I do contribute to some organizations. On the personal side, clothing, $30 last month. This month, not really purchasing anything on clothes. I don't anticipate. Haircut, I cut my own hair. I don't know how I do it, but since COVID, when I first moved to California, I found a barber in Woodland, California. That was $5.99 a month, and that lasted from 2019 to maybe 2020. And then after COVID, he increased his prices. But once COVID came in, stayed at home, I cut my own hair. So that's $40 to $50 a month that is staying in my budget and has stayed in my budget. I used to love going to Goodwill and getting books. Goodwill and Salvation Army. I've kind of pulled back on it. Definitely have a lot of books in general. All right, financial obligations. This was the biggest area of my budget. Now, in order, like I said, to get me started on velocity banking, which is using someone else's money in a revolving card situation or revolving loan situation to pay down your debt, I had a credit card with Navy Federal, $6,500 limit. That was a $6,500 limit. That card did not have anything on it. In fact, I had a $40 credit. So after looking on the internet and found out about cash advance, I did a cash advance off of the Navy Federal card, and I pulled out $1,860. There were no transaction fees, no ATM fees. I also did that same cash advance with Capital One, and I incurred approximately 30 to probably about $20 to $30 in fees. If you watch the previous videos, I talked about some of the things that you need to be aware of in the cash advance. So with the cash advance, if I would have had a balance on this Navy Federal card, then that balance possibly would need to have been paid off before we get to the advance. Now, I did do a cash advance with another national bank, and that was a situation. I had $200 balance. Then I took the cash advance, and I thought I was paying down the balance, which I was, and then the cash advance. But then when I was making charges on that card, that took priority over the cash advance. So if the credit card was 20% interest and the cash advance 32.24% interest, each time I put some new charges on that card without paying off whatever the balance was, then the cash advance was pushed to the back and I was being charged 32.24% interest. But I paid it off, and it only charged me 49 cents in interest. But yeah, be aware of that. These are some of my balances on the credit cards from last month. Now, last month, I paid off these 3 credit cards by using the cash advance of $1,860. So for me, it was excellent. I did away with Capital. I did away with the Discover card, did away with the Patel card, did away with the Walmart card, and that boosts my monthly income or cash flow up $95, so nearly $100. What did it cost me with Navy Federal? I'm looking at the once the statement closes, then probably a couple of dollars, if not less. But in using velocity banking, that deposit my checks, I took that and put it into Navy Federal and paid down the balance on that cash advance, and then any charges that needed to come out, like water bill, light bill, gas, and things of that nature. Now, in addition to that, it still left me with a balance. So within velocity banking, you want to put as much money as you can that's sitting idle into your debt or revolving credit or whatever you're using. In this case, I'm using the cash advance, but definitely some of the other videos show a home equity line of credit or a HELOC, or a personal line of credit, a PLOC. I was unable to get either of those because of the debt that I'm carrying on my personal side and also on my business side. So that really helped. And again, I'm helping individuals with providing them $500 to get started in velocity banking at a lower interest rate than what it would cost that I'm actually using. I really believe in velocity banking. I believe I've been blessed to have the resources that I have in general to help others. So now I'm paying it forward as I gain this knowledge and information. That amounted to $4,045. That was last month. In general, this month it amounts to $2,251. And again, that's because I'm taking that $1,800 from Navy Federal, and I'll be placing it on one of the other cards somewhere to pay them off. I used it the first time last month to totally wipe out the Capital One Walmart, the Discover card, and the Patel card, which came up to probably $1,700. I really, it was great for me. It was great for me, even at 18% interest. Miscellaneous payments. I use Zoom, purchase a license, have a PO box, some apartment application. That was when I was using to try to get a mortgage, Walmart, Dollar Tree. These are just some of those expenses, and those came up to $356.14. Although I have $825 here for February, that's just nothing more than a projection. But the great thing is I got this budget in front of me. I see my numbers and see my projections, and I can't say enough. Please get you a set up a budget. With all my clients, I help them to set up a budget so we can see the numbers. So at the end of the day for January, after all my expenses, the salaries increase, my cash flow was $3,268.20 negative. So I was borrowing or using more to pay down debt. Now I project in February that cash flow to be a negative $578. And again, we're looking at what I'm bringing home with my everyday job and the cash rewards. And I'm negative $758. Now it may come down lower, and I think it will come down lower. Once again, the Navy Federal is paid off, and I'm taking my paycheck every 2 weeks, dumping it into Navy Federal. I'm leaving my rent amount. That's pretty much the only amount that I'm leaving outside of putting all my money or my paycheck or resources into Navy Federal. So this amount right here is being paid just through a checking account or a debit card. But I'm gonna make changes to have that come out of the credit card. And that's how I've been in my other accounts running my mortgages through those accounts by having a small amount in it. And when my mortgage come over to hit the account is overdrawn, but the credit card pulls from that and pay it off, and I'm getting points. I'm getting cash advance for it. So that's another strategy that I think I talked about in another video, and I will continue to use by having a small amount in in my checking account, having my mortgage lender pull from that checking account, and then what's not there, my bank will pull from there as overdraft protection paid off, and I get cash advance. That it is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Let's see, did I have one other one? Okay, and that was it. So today just wanted to look at my budget, see where I'm at in terms of the cash flow. And although my cash flow is negative, I still have some resources where I'm working with clients to help them start velocity banking with a $500 GLOC. That's a green line of credit. I could not get a personal line of credit. I guess I could if I would have continued to look around, but it was just becoming exhaustive. So I just started where I was at using the Navy Federal card. The home equity line of credit, that just seemed like a no-go when I started because of the debt that I'm carrying on my business side and the personal side, and the numbers just didn't add up for any of the lending institutions, and I had to just move on. So as I improve my credit, pay down my debt, then I'm gonna go back to those institutions with better numbers in general. So again, this has been Will, aka Dr. Financial Literacy. Thank you very much for stopping by. And if you would like to get a GLOC, or we can talk to see how we can get you started with a small amount with velocity banking and just see how this really can work. I think this can really work for you. All you need is just a small amount of breathing room to start putting your paycheck into a credit card that you have. So if you'd like more information on that, contact me or give me a call or text me, and let's see what we can do. Thank you very much for stopping in. Really appreciate the time and effort. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.